We are back, baby. Oh my god. What an episode. What a freaking episode, my dudes. And dude, I confirm that dude is a non-gender term. So like everybody's dudes, no matter who you are. Hold on, let me fix this, guys. Pardon me. Sorry. Had a long day yesterday, had a long shift, but we are back today. I thought I'd read on TikTok, that's a sentence, that I thought we were skipping this week. I thought like this week was like a break and then we were going to finish in 2 weeks or something like that, but apparently not. And oh my god. Yes. We're so back. Now, does this episode start with the absolute most heartbreaking thing where we see Nobara's blood spray onto Yuji's face, and then we get what we all fell in love with Jujutsu Kaisen for? Is like, is this show about fighting curses, the most evil things born out of human fear, lust and murder and everything? Yes. But are these silly, goofy little high school freshmen that are fighting them? Also, yes. And so we get where they were laundering, dry cleaning Gojo's shirt, and they spilled coffee on it, and Nobara's gonna blame Ijitsu, and everyone's like, no, it's your fault. And they try and do it, and it's just not working, and just like the little funny, cute animations with them like dabbing the shirt. Like, this is why we watch this show. Now, granted, I'm not saying like all the stuff that's happened is like bad, but like this is why we fell in love with the characters. It's like silly, goofy little moments like this. And the shirt, Gojo's got money. That shirt says 250,000 yen before tax. I did the math. That is $1,750 shirt. Your boy has got it like that. So when was he wearing that shirt? I think it was like probably the baseball game. That might have been a blue one, but just at a baseball, let's say it's just like the same shirt, just at a blue one. So at umpiring a baseball game, he's wearing an almost $2,000 button-up. Talk about a flex, y'all. But the hard cut from all of them laughing together to Nobara's eye blown out of her socket and her skull, just like this empty hole, bro. Just it has, JJK has no regard for us, for any of our emotions, for any of our feelings, for any of our well-beings, just none of it. It's just sticking it in and twisting the knife, man. And then there's literally like a POV shot from her. It's tough, dude. And this is where Yuji breaks. He's got nothing. Like I'm getting so many spam calls today. I'm sorry, guys. He broke down after, he switched back with Sukuna, but he was like, I have to go. Like, I can't let this be my legacy. I have to go save somebody. I have to go, kill a curse. I've got to go do something. And then he immediately runs into Nanami, and he dies. And then he's fighting Mahito, and then he runs into Kugisaki, and she dies. And he's just like, I can't do this. Like, I try to pick myself up by the old bootstraps and, get her done, but I can't. And the fact that Mahito doesn't, like, there's like a few anime moments, quote unquote, but the fact that Mahito attacks him, in the essence of the story, I like that he's not just like giving Yuji time to grieve or process or anything. It's just relentlessly beating the crap out of him and lands a black flash on him. And that's what I want to say, is that there's been so much, I made a TikTok about this, but there's been so much Nobara slander over this last week. Like, yeah, she wasn't that great, like she was the weakest of the three and blah blah blah. Like, no, Mahito's just insane. Mahito's like we'll see it like throughout this fight that's about to take place. His adaptability, his evolution, his like just continued rise of power is unrivaled. Like, he's easily the most powerful disaster curse by far, and he's easily like the most curse of the curses. And he says that he's like, I'm so close to like becoming what a curse truly is. I love being a curse. And he tells Yuji again, he's like, you are me, I am you. The same way that you save people indiscriminately because you want to, is the same way I kill people indiscriminately because I want to. Do you know how many curses you've killed, Yuji? No, you don't? Neither do I. I don't know how many humans I've killed, which is, I gotta say, close to 1,000, if not more. I'd say over 1,000, and he's still going in this episode. Because I'm counting anybody that he transfigures as killing them because they can't be healed. So he transfigures that whole train. He transfigured that whole, bottom, floor of the building all those curse users were on, the granny curse users. And then just all the people that he did with, like, before Junpei, like, he had a bunch, and he's just got, hundreds of, he's always puking up transfigured humans. So it's got to be over 1,000. I'm sure someone has done the math, and maybe I'll look that up. Like, let me Google that real quick. I know these videos are, how many humans have Mahito has? Sorry, that's bad English. Mahito killed. Oh, my cat is going crazy. There's no numbers, and I don't really want to click on any of the links. I've been spoiled enough as it is, so I don't want to click on any of the links because, yeah. But lands a black flash on him, and as he's about to finish him off, and he's like, maybe I'll forget you too. That was a bad clap. There we go. That's a better one. He disappears. And guess who walks in, baby? And I knew this was happening. And, even if you are an anime-only watcher that hasn't been spoiled by the manga readers or TikTok or anything, you see Todo in the opening scene, and you see him with Yuji fighting Mahito. So, this might not be like the biggest surprise. You're probably waiting for this moment. I don't care. When he walks in and his theme music plays, and he's talking like, oh, everything that is beautiful must fade away, but we are the exception. If you weren't out of your chair, laughing, clapping, hyping, breaking something, I don't know who you are, but you're not someone I want to know. You're not, because this is who Todo is. Like, Todo, I want a Jujutsu Kaisen Todo main character story, because this man has so many layers. On the outside, is he a big dumb brute that likes Japanese idols and tall women with big butts, and that's all he cares about? Absolutely. This man has so many amazing hype up speeches, like, we are the exception, and then, he's got his little buddy next to him, Nita-san, who's a first year, who I can't imagine how terrified that kid is, because he's not, like, he seems to be a healer. He's got like a butler outfit on. So he's not like a Yuji or a Nobara or a Megami where like he's a first year, but he might be first grade. He's there to heal people. So I'm literally just like hopping on Todo's back like a piggyback ride. This is as far away as I'm getting from you, especially in all this Shibuya mess. But as I was telling you about Todo, and I'll get to the big thing that we're missing here. The speech he gives him after Yuji's just like, I can't forgive myself anymore. I keep trying. I keep making excuses. I keep trying to save people, and it's not working. I'm not saving anybody. Sukuna killed so many people. Nanami's dead. Kugasaki's dead. The speech that Todo gives, I wish I could just play it and, let you guys listen to it. But it's just like, as long as it's a lot of this was reminding me of Attack on Titan. A lot of this stuff where he says like, even though our comrades are dead, as long as we're still alive, they're alive with us. And that reminded me of, like, you know, we're still watching over you, like when Hanji died. So much of this was so Attack on Titan coded for me, and it's such a perfect speech, and it does do it for Yuji, where it's just like, Yuji says he's like, he apologized to Nanami taking the easy way out, but I don't think it's the easy way. But it's just like, yeah, you have a burden to bear as a Jujutsu sorcerer, and your comrades are gonna die, and your friends are gonna die, and you have to honor their memory by continuing to fight. Oh, and it's such a good point, because like Mahito, I missed this part. There's so much of this episode, so much more than just like a fighting episode, for me at least, where Mahito's like, you thought you were just gonna go crush some bugs or something like that? You thought like it would just be like some rat extermination? This is a war. This is like, we're treating this as a war for the earth. What society is going to be like in 100 years. You're naive if you thought we were just going to roll over and die. You're naive if you didn't think this, like, there was going to be casualties, there's going to be pain and suffering, because we are trying to literally take over the world. And I don't think Yuji got that. I don't think he understood the gravity of the situation, where, you know, he's trying to lead people to have good deaths if he can. He's trying to be a good person, and I respect him, and I love my boy Yuji for that. He's my special boy. But I think Mahito's a little right in this point, where Yuji didn't, like, it wasn't going on up there of what was truly happening. And I'm glad he said this, because I think this, not as much as what Todo says, but like this, like, really punches Yuji in the chest of like, I was stupid. Like, I underestimated everything. But the thing I was talking about is that Nita-san goes over to Nobara, and his technique is he can stop wounds. He can't heal them, but like, if you know you get cut, he can be like hut, 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 and do his little finger diagonal, boom, palm hand, and he can stop it from bleeding. And I don't know, it doesn't heal it, but it stops it from getting worse, you know, like infected, or stops the bleeding. But if you make new wounds, it doesn't do anything for that. So it's not the best technique. He's not quite Shoko level. But he says he does it to Nobara, and he's like, no pulse, no breathing, but she hasn't been like, quote unquote, dead that long. So maybe we can bring her back. It's not 0, but it's close to 0. And you know what? I needed that. I'll take not 0, but close to 0 after what because we know Nanami's gone. His whole top half of himself is gone. But this is anime, so I'm okay. I'll take not 0. I will take not 0. But we start the fight with Mahito and Todo, and while Yuji's getting not healed up, Todo's, you know, clapping, switching. And even Mahito's like, even when you know it's coming, it's still disorienting. And Todo's just got it like that, man. And then the last second, he's like, oh, I'm about to hit him. Todo switches, and there's Yuji with a black flash, and the anger in his black flash, like, busts open all of Mahito's arm. And we learn, like, I think we've learned this before. It's just like, Mahito is such a strong enemy. One, because of his technique and his adaptability, like, just his cursed energy is tough. But also because of who he is as a curse, unless your punches can affect his soul, he doesn't take damage. And so that's why Nobara's, like, nails hit him super hard, because it affected his soul, her resonance. And Yuji's cursed energy, because of Sukuna, affects his soul. And so it's just, I think it's because of Sukuna. Correct me if I'm wrong. But just, Todo is stronger than Yuji, and he says it late in the episode, he's like, you can hit me all you want, but if your thing doesn't affect my soul, it doesn't hurt me. Like, it doesn't, like, wear me down, which is really frustrating. We had the exception. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes right now. Love Todo. Like, this again, I've read the manga panels of this whole thing. I've read it of Todo's intro. I don't care. There's no Todo theme in the manga. Anime clears by a mile. There's also something when he's like Todo's giving him like the hype up speech. He's like, "Well, I don't want to tell him that." It's like, tell him what? I don't know what Todo didn't tell him. But then we switch right before the fight starts. We switch to a bullet train heading to Shibuya, and it's the Kyoto class. Well, really, it's just Miwa, and she's got a little Mechamaru bot, and basically what he said is that he arranged that they would be on a mission in like South Kyoto, which is not far from Tokyo or Shibuya, but pretty far. Like I did that bullet train ride. It was like an hour and a half to Kyoto, like hour 45. So long enough to where, you know, all these events in Shibuya are taking place like within like 2 hours. So they wouldn't make it in time. And he had just sent Todo and Nita for his healing powers, and Todo, because he had a 99% survivability rate in Shibuya, and basically he said, he was like, "Why didn't you send me? Because I'm weak." He's like, "No, Mechamaru says I'm weak. Like, I tried to protect all my friends, but I went about it the wrong way of, like, you know, obviously putting himself first with like wanting to become like a fully healed person and like, you know, walk around and not be hooked up to a million machines and stuff. But he's like, I loved a girl and I would do anything, like I'd sacrifice the world to protect her. And the last thing he says, like, he like flashes and becomes like a person next to her on the train, and he's like, find happiness. And again, too close to Attack on Titan of like the whole find happiness thing. Like, stop it, I can't do this, man. And Miwa's crying, and he loved her so much, and I think she loved him. And then we see the rest of the Kyoto class being like, well, we're gonna kill everyone for making Miwa cry, basically. And I honestly don't know what happens to the Kyoto class, like, at all. There's one thing I don't know. I haven't read any manga spoilers for that, and I don't want to. Let me actually find out what happens in this arc without, you know, being spoiled. That'd be a nice change, right? Yuji and Todo's, like, they fought together one time. This is their second time fighting together. Second time interacting, basically. And their teamwork is just elite. They jump in the air. Todo throws Yuji at Mahito. They're beating the crap out of him. But, like, Mahito is, again, adapting, overcoming. It's crazy. Like, he splits again. He's splitting all over the place. They're, like, hitting the doubles, breaking the doubles. He's throwing transfigured humans at him. He's literally, like, they go into the subway, and Mahito is like, my soul's at 40%. I don't know how strong Todo's soul is, but I don't know if I can one-shot him because I'm not at full strength. And Yuji's at 10%. But you know what? Let's go for it anyways. And he literally transfigures a whole freaking train at them. They're running away from it. He transfigures another train to come at them. He separates Todo because he wants to, you know, to take him out, because he knows, like, if he takes him out, then Yuji will break down again and it's game over. And Todo manages, like, you could tell Todo knows. I don't think Todo's afraid in this moment, but he's like, I can't get touched by this guy. Like, I don't know if I can beat him. I don't think I can beat him one-on-one, but we're going to try. And he's running, switching, and again, Mahito's like become a perfectionist of just grabbing some poor innocent bystander by the neck and turning them into swords and throwing them and clashing with them. Todo managed to get out. He reunites with Yuji, and the most brilliant scene happens. And there's so much to this, where Todo picks up a rock, imbues it with his cursed energy, tosses it to Yuji. Yuji just like single-handed, like he's on the playground, just curl hops. Boom! Tosses it. And just like Todo had said at the baseball game, he's like, oh, you're a catcher, but you know what? I really want to face the pitcher, Yuji. I want to face the pitcher. I want to go to bat against the pitcher. And Yuji pitches the rock. Todo claps. He becomes the rock, and he's flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And he's like, I'm the one being left behind now. Are you going to leave your brother out in the dark by himself? and he black flashes Mahito, and it's so great. It's animated beautifully. It's done so beautifully. I love it so much. But again, like I said, and even Mahito says it right here, where it's like, if you don't damage my soul, I don't really take damage. And so they're facing off, and the narrator says they're all operating at 120%. They're all bringing out the best, like, possible combat potential from each other. And it's insane. And that's how powerful Mahito is. Because, like, Hanami was getting the brakes beat off her. Like, they were beating the crap out of Hanami. She had to, you know, I know that she had her domain, but I wonder if the domain effects would be the same as Mahito's, where Sukuna would be like, you're dead. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. It would have been a problem, but we'll never see Hanami's domain, unfortunately. But Mahito is just enjoying himself. He is truly enjoying himself right now. And he throws up another 100 transfigure humans, tosses them in like all directions, and they all like become these little like snakes and everything. And Todo says like he's attacking in all directions, so switching is pointless. And the last thing we see is just like Mahito being like, this is Itadori, let's do this. This is the last time we're gonna curse each other. Like, Mahito's not going anywhere. He's not running anymore. This is it. And then we end. And, oh my gosh. What an episode, man. There's so much to all of this. And I love, like, a good basic action episode. That's great. But there's so much more to this episode. And I loved it. Like, this, you know, I remember... I can't remember what I said, what episode it was. But just, like, do manga readers like enjoy watching something that they know that's happening? Like they know what's gonna happen, and I do. I'm not a manga reader, but I've been spoiled by the manga, so I knew Todo was showing up. I knew all this stuff, but I didn't know like the details of the fight. I didn't know like the speech he gave. The music kicked in. The animation was gorgeous. Oh my god. Win. This episode is a win, and I can't wait for next week. I don't know if we got one episode left or two. I hope it's two. But if it's one, then what a hell of a season. But man, so great. So great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate y'all. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I had a great time with it. Bye-bye.